Hello viewers, I'd like to explain my striker subclass choice and loadout for those who are interested in looking at it, or as a guide for PvP gameplay for those who are interested in playing with my playing style. So I focus on agility. I have my agility maxed out and I use the media multi-tool. I make use of the lightweight, which grants extra agility, and then the media multi-tool, which boosts move speed, and the third eye for constant awareness, because I'm going to be closing in with targets and it's always useful to know what's going around me all the time. So I have hard luck charm. I initially went with Winter's Lie, but I don't like the rate of fire, and this range is equal to the range of Winter's Lie. Anyway, and I go with Exodus Plan. This is the native one you can get from the Dead Orbit. So it has grenades and horseshoes, which allows me to fire quick without worrying about aiming or taking the time to aim, which could result in a death, or which could get me killed more often. And then of course this launcher's troop can hold 3 shells, which allows me to carry 4 missiles every time I pick up a heavy. Now for the subclass. So lightning grenade allows me to get in some kills sometimes, or I can use it as support for when I'm crouching and dealing damage with my shotgun. Now I use control because I use shoulder charge a lot, and control allows me to control my movement more often, to hit an enemy that is not in my direct direction of movement, and it just generally feels better for my faster style of play. I'm always moving around, and when I jump I want to be able to control how I'm moving. Of course, if you're used to increased height or this, then you can always go with it. I don't use Aftermath much. I haven't used Aftermath in forever. I guess in PvP, if I was playing the Vanguard and I was playing the Undying Mind, where you get a lot of majors, Vex majors, I could use this. But yeah, I don't really find much use for it. Now, Death from Above, I use this a lot, and I have this selected for a little more range in the Crucible. I usually go with these two, and any one is equally good. I'm just currently using this one to reduce my cooldowns. I choose this because of the increased agility without sacrificing armor. I use this because of course I'm always shoulder charging. I'm using the Stormfist. Training focused on raw speed again. This boosts my agility, so I use it. And then of course shoulder charge. Now, Unstoppable is also incredibly useful, but I generally don't use it. I don't use Fist of Havoc as a Fist of Panic. I don't use it to defend myself. I use it to strike. I use it to actually go out there and wreak havoc on my enemies. Juggernaut. Yeah, no, I don't use Juggernaut. If it fits your style of play, then by all means go ahead. Now I use Helm of Inmost Light for PvP, and I mostly use this for PvE. I carry my Defender, and then I go in with the Invective, and I basically wreak havoc on my enemies using the Blessing of Light. But back to PvP, I use this gives me Death from Above and Headstrong automatically. Headstrong is the one that allows you to this one. Increases leap distance, giving you more range. and then death from above. This can be aimed at enemies below. If you look at my 10 kill streak, my first 10 kill streak video, you can see death from above in use. If you have not seen it before, which I doubt. Now I have my intellect maxed out to the full. My priority here is intellect because I want to be able to use Fist of Havoc as many times as possible in the Crucible. So I've got this, which is all intellect, and then this allows me to reduce my grenade cooldown when I throw in a punch. So I don't use this much, but I do get to use grenades a lot because of this last perk here. And then I use this, which is also maxed out with intellect and allows me to have more special weapons. And then this, I picked this over this because it has discipline here, and I don't need discipline. I get discipline from my melee kills, or basically my melee damages. My shoulder charges and my punches give me discipline, so I don't really use discipline in Crucible. Of course, if I'm going for raid, I'm going to select it. I'm going to switch. But I use this to boost the intellect. If I had a total intellect, I would use it. I'd switch. So let's just briefly go to the defender subclass, and I'll show you what I use for raid and basically PVE. Again, agility is maxed out because I use the multi-tool a lot, or I use invective. If I'm going for, I usually use magnetic grenade. I started with spike, but it didn't seem to be very effective, so for me anyway, so I stick with magnetic grenade. And then I go with control. I prefer to have control. Of course, if I'm going for the vault of glass, for the puzzle bridge, I'll go with increased height. And armor of light, I usually go with blessing of light. If I'm going for a raid, the first part of the raid, I'll go for armor of light. Or if I'm going for nightfall, no, even for nightfall I use blessing of light. Anyway, if I have a lot of enemies rushing at me, I don't use this much. I usually stick with this, and I don't use this much unless everybody in the team has a Galahorn or something equally deadly, or an icebreaker or something. Then I go with weapons of light, so we can quickly, if you can't quickly kill off your opponents, I wouldn't recommend weapons of light, because blessing of light allows you to deal in damage in and out of the shield. And here we have this is incredibly useful in the right circumstances. If you have invective and you need to reload quickly, and you have a bubble, you've cast a bubble and you're using blessing of light, you need to reload quickly and get on with the killing. This is pretty useful. This yeah, if you want to support your teammates, they have incredible supers that can help you. Of course, this one, and I usually use this one because whenever I pop a bubble, I'm usually punching if I run out of shotgun ammo, which I don't usually because I use invective, which regenerates ammo. Speed boost. Wait. I could go with either this or this, I guess. Either this or this. As long as I'm not sacrificing agility, I'm good. The rest don't have much priority. Recovery don't have much priority, because if you know how to hide when you have when you've taken too much damage, then recovery is pretty much not as useful as agility, which allows you to move around, to run away faster, to get there while you're going faster, because I take a lot of risk. I play I'm a very risk-oriented gamer. Duration of ward of down, any of these can do. and then this raw speed again. Duration of cooldown. Yeah, so when I carry the defender, I sometimes use the multi-tool or the middle class or the hawk moon, and then as you can see, intellect is maxed out again. I can be popping bubbles almost continuously in the Prison of Elders. What I do is I go over a group of enemies and then I pop a bubble over them and land, and then it blinds them, and then I carry my Vision of Confluence or my multi-tool or my invective, and I'm pumping off shots because auto fire, ammo regeneration. And then when I reach the boss, I can usually switch to my Galahorn. So that's that. Thanks for watching.